I awoke to a world that was unlike anything I had ever known. The harsh, dimly lit room and the coarse fabric of my dress immediately made it clear that I was far from my cozy apartment in the bustling city. Panic welled up inside me, and I desperately tried to remember how I had ended up in this foreign place. As I stumbled out of the room and through the narrow stone corridors, I began to piece together my situation. I was no longer the modern young woman I had been. I was now a maid, a servant in a medieval world. The castle that surrounded me was massive, a place of stone and steel that spoke of power and oppression. Outside, I could hear the clamor of war, shouts, the clash of swords, and the mournful cries of the people echoed in the distance. It was clear that the kingdom was in turmoil, and I had a sinking feeling that the people outside those castle walls were my people, the ones I had to defend. A flood of memories rushed back, revealing that I had once been a history enthusiast, a lover of all things medieval. My knowledge of those times would be my only weapon, a way to connect with the people I had come to understand and support. I moved among the other maids and servants, my heart pounding with fear. But as the days passed, I discovered that I had a gift for blending in, for assuming my new role with the ease of a seasoned actor. I listened to their whispers and grievances, and as I did, I couldn't help but feel a deep empathy for their plight. It was a feeling of connection that went beyond my mere knowledge of history. One evening, while cleaning the prince's chambers, I heard a heated conversation between him and his advisors. The prince, a young man with piercing blue eyes and golden hair, was vehemently against the war. He believed in the kingdom's unity and the welfare of its people, but his advisors were pushing for more aggression. The tension in the room was palpable. I couldn't keep my silence any longer. "Your Highness," I ventured, "forgive my intrusion, but I couldn't help but overhear. The people outside these walls, they suffer. They yearn for peace, for the end of this war." The prince's eyes met mine, and for a moment I saw a flicker of understanding. "And who are you to speak on their behalf?" I couldn't reveal the truth about my origins, so I spoke from my newfound empathy and knowledge. "I am a mere maid, Your Highness, but I have seen their suffering. In the history books, I've read of great leaders who chose to listen to their people, to understand their pain, and to make a change." The prince seemed thoughtful, and as the days turned into weeks, he allowed me to continue the conversation. I shared my insights into medieval governance, suggesting strategies to bring about a resolution that would spare the lives of the innocent. Surprisingly, the prince began to trust my judgment, and I found myself by his side more often, advising him in secret. To my astonishment, he offered to teach me the art of swordsmanship, believing that my knowledge would help me protect myself and the kingdom. As we trained together, our connection deepened. His touch, his breath, his very presence began to consume my thoughts. I realized that I had fallen in love with him, but I couldn't allow my emotions to cloud my judgment. The people depended on us. One fateful night, as we watched the moonlight dance on the castle walls, the prince spoke with vulnerability in his eyes. "I never thought I would find someone who truly understood me, someone who saw the kingdom as I do." I took a deep breath and admitted, "Your Highness, there's something I need to tell you. I'm not who you think I am. I come from a different time, a different world. But I am here now, and I am committed to helping you bring peace to this land." The prince's eyes widened, and I feared he would cast me aside. But instead he said, "Your origins may be different, but your heart, your dedication, they are real, and I find myself caring for you more deeply with each passing day." Torn between my love for the prince and my mission to save the kingdom, I knew I had to continue with my plan to bring the castle down from the inside. But the more I got to know the prince, the harder that task became. My training in swordsmanship, under the prince's guidance, became more intense. We practiced in the castle's hidden chambers, our blades clashing in a dance of trust and understanding. His strength, skill, and patience with me were unwavering, and I pushed myself harder with every swing, every parry. Our late-night conversations continued, but the line between advisor and companion blurred. The prince and I began to steal moments together when we could, wandering the castle gardens, exchanging furtive glances and heartfelt confessions. I had never imagined myself falling for a prince in a medieval kingdom, but love has a way of defying time and place. The war outside the castle walls continued to escalate, and the tension inside grew palpable. It was clear that the advisors were closing in on the prince's true intentions of finding a peaceful resolution. I feared that my deception and my feelings for the prince would soon be exposed. Then, one stormy evening, as the winds howled and rain battered the castle's stone walls, the moment I had dreaded arrived. A rebellion broke out within the castle itself, led by the prince's most trusted advisors, who saw him as weak and misguided. I rushed to the sound of swords clashing. My heart pounded in my chest. The prince was at the heart of the conflict, defending his honor and his belief in a better future for the kingdom. I knew that I had to join the fight, not just to save him, but to protect the people who had grown dear to my heart. Though deep down I knew it was our blades that would meet in the end. With my sword in hand, I emerged into the midst of the battle. The clanging of metal, the shouts, and the cries of the wounded filled the air. My heart ached as I saw the prince, his back against a stone wall, surrounded by adversaries who had once been his trusted advisors. I couldn't let them harm him. Gathering my courage, I charged forward, my blade glinting in the torchlight. With each swing, I fought to protect not just the prince, but the ideals he represented, the people who deserved a better life, and the love that had grown between us. The battle was fierce, but determination and the element of surprise were on my side. I knocked aside the prince's attackers one by one, defending him with all my strength. Finally, as the last of the traitors fell to the ground, I turned to the prince, exhaustion and triumph washing over me. As I met his eyes, my heart ached with the weight of my secret. He looked at me with a mixture of shock and gratitude, and then with a hint of recognition. His voice trembled as he whispered, You've always been there for me." My eyes filled with tears as I nodded. "I am. But still, I must fight for the people." The prince, though battered and bruised, stood defiantly before the remnants of his once loyal advisers who had turned against him. I approached, sword in hand. My heart ached with the knowledge that I had to fight him for the sake of the people I had come to understand and love. Tears welled in my eyes as I faced the man who had stolen my heart, but my determination was unwavering. With a heavy heart, I raised my blade to meet his. "I'm sorry, Your Highness," I whispered, "but the people need a leader who will bring them peace." The prince's eyes were filled with a mix of sadness and understanding, and he nodded in reluctant agreement. Our swords clashed, and the battle between us began in earnest. Each strike and parry was a reminder of our shared moments, our love, and our dreams for a better kingdom. The fight was grueling, and the castle's walls seemed to reverberate with the clash of our blades. I could see the conflict in the prince's eyes, the love he felt for me warring with his duty to the kingdom. But I couldn't back down. The people outside these walls deserved a chance for a brighter future. Our swords clashed, our movements a blend of grace and desperation. Our eyes met as I disarmed him. There was a decision to be made.